Pentagon officials believe that this gun could well change the future of military combat. At first glance, the RailGun looks like a high-tech naval cannon, but instead of gunpowder to fire this bullet, it uses a magnetic pulse. And it's unlike anything being used in contemporary warfare, requiring a 25-megawatt power plant, enough to power nearly 19,000 homes. The electromagnetic gun catapults a football-sized projectile at Mach 6. That's more than 4,500 miles per hour. Once fired, that projectile becomes the military version of an asteroid, obliterating everything in its path. And unlike conventional bullets, which lose velocity from the moment they're fired, these projectiles gain speed as they go out through the barrel. With a range of up to 125 miles, the RailGun can fire a round that would travel from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, I heard that, right? 125-mile range. But we'll get back to that.
Naval researchers hope that the RailGun will not just be a potent offensive weapon, but can also help defend military bases and Navy ships.
Because of our ability to launch these projectiles at great distance and with high accuracy, we're going to actually be able to engage ship to ship again in a way that we haven't in several decades in order to defend the Navy and to carry out its mission of taking other nations out of action and controlling the seas.
Another adaptation? The rounds designed for the RailGun can also be used in a host of other weapons, vastly extending their range and power.
You can fire out of naval guns, you can fire out of army guns, you can scale the guns, which provide you an awful lot of different launchers with a very, very deep magazine, of very, very cheap, relatively, rounds, which will allow you to track incoming aircraft or missiles or ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and potentially shoot them down, like a big shotgun shell.
The Pentagon is putting some $800 million into the RailGun and its specialized bullets. The technology could give the U.S. a significant strategic advantage in surface combat against enemy combatants on land and at sea, including Chinese and Russian anti-ship missiles.
They were build a missile at $15 million to target a $15 billion aircraft carrier. Now we're able to defend that carrier at a fraction of the cost of what it costs to build a missile. We have changed the equation back to our advantage.
Naval RailGun. The projectile travels at 5,600 miles per hour. That's Mach 7. You see this thing right here? This is more or less a rifle that fires a bullet. This has a range of 125 miles. It's right here. We showed the video. They even pointed out, they themselves, the ones that designed the RailGun, they're showing you a shot from Washington to Philadelphia. What's this number here? 125 miles. So we could put that to bed, right? It doesn't even matter. We can go down to 110 miles or 100 miles. It makes no difference. This is a line of sight weapon. We're going to put the RailGun 100 feet above sea level. That's right off the deck of a destroyer or a cruiser. And I'm even giving the benefit of the doubt with this because I think it's much lower. It's like 30 or 50 feet. So I'm giving 100 feet. So more than enough breathing room here. A target at 125 miles, we can go ahead and pull off the calculator. The distance is 125 miles. The viewer height, or the height of the RailGun, is 100 feet above the deck, above sea level. So we're going to calculate again. So the horizon distance is 12.25 miles. The hidden amount is 8,476 feet. The key one here is this bulge height. And like I said, you go down here. This is where the RailGun is on the ship. So this bullet has to go from here to the target at 125 miles. It has to ascend and descend at Mach 7. Now, anyone that can fog a mirror knows that this is impossible. I don't know any other way to put it. I can't break this down any further. Let's employ some actual science. The null hypothesis. To do a hypothesis test, you will actually have two hypotheses, the null and the alternative, which are stated in such a way that they are mutually exclusive. Makes sense. The null hypothesis is the conclusion that is considered the default. You will accept this hypothesis if you fail to find sufficient support for the alternative hypothesis, right? So, the null. If the Earth is flat, then shots taken with a line-of-sight weapon, a non-self-propelled projectile, it's a bullet, will not be limited to the Earth's curvature, bulge, and target hidden amount to effectively engage targets for said distance and elevation according to the alleged curvature, which we've just shown. This is the ball earthers' hypothesis. They need to validate this. By validating this, they falsify this. Make sense? This is their hypothesis. If the Earth is a sphere with a circumference of 24,901 miles with a radius of 3959, then shots taken with a line-of-sight weapon, it's a non-self-propelled projectile, i.e. bullets, will be limited to the Earth's curvature amount to effectively engage targets. They need to prove this one, validate this hypothesis, whereby falsifying the null. They have to falsify the null. If you can't, then you're finished, scientifically speaking. It's already been validated. They've already said it. It has a range of 125 miles. They've already tested this, as you can see here, for the 1,000th time. The Navy helps to use the railgun for multiple missions, including precision, surface fire support, we'll see that here and again in a second, land strikes, cruise missile, and ballistic missile defense. The weapon will also be used to fight surface ships. Surface ships are on the surface. This weapon, Dr. Roger McGinnis, he's the executive in charge of the railgun program. The weapon does all of its damage because of its speed. Speed. It can't be an indirect fire weapon because it's a bullet. It has no explosive. See this. The weapon is called a railgun and requires neither gunpowder nor explosive. It is powered by electromagnetic rails that accelerate a hardened projectile, it's about the size of a football, to a staggering velocity. Here it is again. It uses no gunpowder or chemical propellants. You need to carry dangerous explosives on the warship. Here we go again. The 25-pound projectile is a non-explosive bullet. Everyone say it with me. Non-explosive bullet. The incredible speed allows the projectile to strike the target with enough kinetic energy to destroy it with no need for explosives. See that? Now, the naval fire support, we roll down here to naval gunfire characteristics. Naval gunfire has a flat trajectory. As an indirect fire weapon, like artillery, will they use HE or high explosive or incendiary rounds? The Navy railgun projectile is non-explosive. It does all of its damage due to its speed for the 1,000th time. Using it as an indirect fire weapon, the projectile will lose most of its speed and drop a piece of dead 25-pound hunk of metal from the sky.